This is Chapter 6, Question 2, on how to palpate the muscles. So the first is the bicep brachii, and it's easily palpated on the anterior humerus of the long head, and the short head tendons may be palpated in the intertubercular groove and just inframedial to the coracoid process, respectively, and then distally the biceps tendon is palpated just anteromedial to the elbow joint during supination and flexion. The brachioradialis is anterolaterally on the proximal forearm during resisted elbow flexion, with the radial ulnar joint positioned in neutral. And the brachialis is deep on either side of the biceps tendon during flexion and extension, with the forearm in partial pronation. The lateral margin may be palpated between the biceps brachii, and the belly may be palpated through biceps brachii when forearm is in pronation during light flexion. And the pronator teres is anteromedial surface of the proximal forearm during resisted mid to full pronation. And our triceps brachii long head is proximally as a tendon on the posterior medial arm to underneath the posterior deltoid during resisted shoulder extension and adduction. And then the triceps brachial lateral head is easily palpated on the proximal 2/3 of the posterior humerus during resisted extension. And the triceps brachial medial head is in the deep head, it's medially and laterally just proximal to the medial and lateral epicondyles. And our supinator, it has a position, elbow and forearm in relaxed flexion and pronation, and then palpate deep the brachioradialis, extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi radialis brevis on the lateral aspect of the proximal radius with slight resistance to supination. And then our anconeus is a posterior lateral aspect of the proximal ulna to the occluron process during resisted extension of the elbow with the wrist in flexion.